Welcome back to Around the Diamond. Marvin Jackson here, along with Wally Akinso and special guest, Dwayne Renal Sims, founder of the Negro League Legends Hall of Fame, and Mr. William Doug Foster, grandson of William Hendrick Foster. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
All right.
It's a pleasure to be on the diamond. Yeah. Well, we're not on the field, but we're on the diamond, right?
We're on the diamond, and we got baseball bats to show it, right? Now, Dwayne, explain why you brought Doug along with you this evening.
Usually, in my little limited history being a historian background, I always believe in bringing the real deal to the table. And when you get the real deal, it's nothing like letting them speak rather than me. But since I've been involved with this Negro League, it's just opened up many doors, meeting interesting people. But one of the focuses that I had is to find the descendants. 2020 is coming. They're going to celebrate the founding of Negro National League.
What is that?
Rube Foster, 100 years in 2020, the month of February. So what did Dwayne do? I didn't have to go fishing. Found him right here in Prince George's County. William Doug Foster Jr., ladies and gentlemen. The descendant and grandson of William Hendrick Foster.
Right.
Go ahead.
And nephew of Rube Foster, right, the founder of the National Negro League. But thank you. It's exciting, just to obviously, I'm excited because, my grandfather and my great uncle to have played such a major part in history of not only African American history, but just American history in general. So when I met Dwayne and he said he's going to do, celebrate in 100 years of Negro League, I just, wow. And the way we kind of came in contact, I mean, a quick story is, like I didn't know Dwayne from day one. He was doing a Negro League Black History Month event at my job, and my boss said, hey, I want you to give the presentation and introduce the Negro League player. And so when I gave the introduction, me and Dwayne, we just connected then. That was about 6-7 years ago, and since then we've just been connected at the hip. But it's just been a fun ride. It's an opportunity just to share my stories, my time with my grandfather, some of the things. I mean, I've been to the Hall of Fame twice when my great uncle was inducted, and then my father gave the speech for my grandfather. So just being able to meet all of the Hall of Fame players and hear all those stories about how well my grandfather, I mean, people, when people talk about pitching in the Negro League, they bring up Satchel Paige, but a lot of people say, my grandfather was one of the best to ever do it, so that obviously makes me proud and to be a Foster and to hear that, and so.
And the thing about it, you have their name too. Right. I mean, a lot of people are descendants, but they don't have the name. They just have the DNA. He has it all.
Yeah, and
so he's royalty. He's got the. So they actually had the look too. And so you're royalty, and we just love having you here.
Yeah.
You told me a story about your grandfather.
Yeah, I mean, my grandfather was a jokester. Obviously he passed when I was young, but I remember going to visit him in Mississippi, and he loved to fish. He had a little pier out back of his house, so he's like, I'm going to take you fishing. Doug, he used to call me Doug, I'm going to take you fishing. So we hopped in the boat, and I was the first one in the boat, so I'm thinking he's about to get on the boat, and he said, give me 1 minute, and he actually pushed the boat out into the river, the Mississippi River, and I'm like, I'm freaking out because I'm like, Granddad, Dad, like what's going on? I'm about to sail it down the river, and he's freaking out. He's like, oh no, hold on, son, you'll be all right, But little did I know the boat was always tied to the pier. I didn't know that, so eventually, it held back, and him and my father just laughing while I'm literally in tears. But that was the type of person he was. He was just a jokester, and he just loved talking baseball. I mean, he would talk all the time about how he enjoyed playing the game and how he struck. I mean, he exaggerated a little bit. I remember him exaggerating. My father used to always say he exaggerated, like how he struck out 100 people in one game.
50%.
Right, right, absolutely. But it was, that's the type of person he was.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we got that 100-year celebration coming up next year. You guys will both be around to do that, put that on. Now let's talk about this year.
Yeah, this year.
August. We got some big events coming up.
It's so interesting. I've been doing the East-West All-Star Game, which symbolizes the 1933, the first time that actually during those years that they brought an All-Star Game together in the Negro Leagues. Who was the pitcher in that first All-Star, his grandfather. William Hendrick was one of the best pitchers of that time and moment. And that's, you know, it's interesting when we talk about Cooperstown, you just can't, and like you were mentioning earlier, it's not like the basketball and all the other, you have to have the credentials and your numbers, and it's very, very hard. And to have two brothers actually in Cooperstown, it's amazing. I guess that is history within itself.
What was that feeling like when you went there, having two relatives?
I mean, again, it's just a great feeling when you kind of talk to a lot of the other descendants of the Holler, you know, people who were my age, and we were kind of like, actually, I met Tyra Banks there when I was young, the first time. Yeah. So we were all kind of, we were all kind of gathered and just kind of having discussions about it. So it just gives you a sense of pride, and you know, that your family was a part of something so special. I have some of, like, I have a couple baseballs with all of the Hall of Famer signatures on it, you know what I mean? So it's just having all those, I mean, people like Buck O'Neil and Earl Weaver. I think Earl Weaver was on this, he got inducted the same time as my uncle. So it was just a lot of just, you know, it could be overwhelming for a young kid. First time I went, I was 10. Second time I was like 25, so a little bit older. But it was just, the experience was equally, you know, exciting. You know what I mean? It was just a great experience.
And then coming up with, now I got my right hand right now, August the 10th, we're going to be at the Prince George's Stadium, home of the Bay Sox, and we play our annual game. All the tickets free. Can they go to your link and click on that right here on your show?
Probably could.
And also at the www.NLLHOF.org and get free tickets for the family. And from the beginning, we have a car show. You know, I got one of my favorite cars, a little bit of here and there. But I have the Metro Vets. It's always
right
been one of my partners in the parking lot. And we have Southern Soul. They're a partner every year. And this is my charity part. I mean, the donations go to the foundation, which we do our reading about our community history outreach. So
who's throwing out the first
Throwing out
balls
the
this year?
first pitch.
Well, I hope it's not me. You want to hear about a funny story? I know last year he invited me to throw out the first pitch, and you know, with my grandfather being a pitcher, Hall of Fame pitcher, of course there's a lot of pressure that comes along with it. So I'm over at the side and I'm warming up, and you know, I'm looks like I'm making it to the plate, no problem. But when I get out on the mound, it looked like it was about 100 yards, and all I kept saying to myself, just don't let me bounce it to the pitcher. I mean, to the catcher. Don't let me bounce it to the catcher. But when I threw it, it went in there for a strike. It was in there for a strike. But I will not be throwing out the first pitch.
But you will be there.
Yeah, I will be there. Absolutely.
And actually, we have Camay Calloway Murphy, which is the daughter of Cab Calloway. Cab Calloway is involved in Negro League. A lot of the jazz artists back in those days, they knew the ball players, and some of them were partial owners and invested back in that. And from them to be from Harvard D. Grace, a lot of people don't know the history of it. Cab had a home in Harvard D. Grace, where the Baltimore Eli Giants player, Ernest Burke. So Cab Calloway's daughter has embraced Ernest Burke's legacy. So also during that week, on a Friday, we're going to where? Howard Hospital, Howard University. On that campus ground.
Same place that Griffith Stadium
was.
used to be.
And we're taking some kids from Prince George's County, going to meet some kids from Washington, D.C. So the kids from Prince George's County is going to represent the Baltimore Eli Giants, which Ernest Burke played for. And also the team from D.C., the Washington Homestead Grays, which they actually played in the championship game together.
Right there at Griffith
They
Stadium.
played there. So that's part of attaching that history, having our kids, and I told them, you wear your own uniform, you know. But I found out with the exposure to our kids about our history is nothing like it. They actually go to a stadium, professional stadium, see what the players do on the field, and our players are great. For the Chesapeake League and everything, and we just, Lawrence is involved, not your Lawrence, but my Lawrence Richmond, my manager, he also plays, he's a catcher. So the experience, the smell, popcorn and the peanuts, but we don't know about that. They used to do that every Sunday back in the day.
So will some of the Negro League players be there?
Got to have Levi Champy Drew play for the Indianapolis Clowns.
Yeah.
And one of the interesting things that is coming to town next year, it's playing right now in New York, the story on Tony Stone. the first woman to play in the Negro League, Indianapolis Clowns. So I've been in communication with them, so that's a great thing. And then also this year, we have some partners from the County Council of Prince George's County. We also have CommuniCare. We have Maryland Park and Planning. I love them. A lot of people don't realize the facilities and the resources that they provide to our community. Nobody even talks about it. I thank them for everything because I would not be able to do that without that partnership.
And you have a new organization
yes, I do.
This year.
Oh, yeah, we're going to do the RubeFoster.org. yeah, for 2020, we're going to start that up. So that is great. And then from the power from above, like some of us do get the real credit to. But it takes people like you all. And I also understand I just recruited somebody for my game. We have someone joining you in the booth, okay? You know I don't waste no time. I grab the good ones when I see them.
So
I did that to Fred Valentine when we were on here before, and he showed up. So, ladies and gentlemen,
we'll be a good team in the booth.
He will be.
We'll add a lot of color up there.
That's right.
in many ways.
It'll be great to have you
and the
up there.
American Legion is one of your sponsors.
Yes, actually they're my partners. Actually, they're not a partner sponsor for this. They're a partner. What I decided to do was reach out into our community because they serve our country. Negro League ball players, they served in the military also. And it's almost, we don't really recognize that. The VFW is also coming, but we're making an American Legion Day for them. For that day, because that's their 100th year anniversary this year. Thank you.
Well, we would like to thank you,
Mr.
Dwayne and Doug, for stopping by to share all that good information with our viewers. All the best with those big events in August. And Wally, thank you for your gnats and skins insights too. Great work. I'm Marvin Jackson. We'll see you next time, everybody.